Who could have imagined we'd get to a point where telling people not to write self-insert stories with brand characters would be controversial? Welcome to the modern comic book industry. Well, it's been quite the week for Glenn O'Leary. He's the owner of the Comic Book Palace, and he managed to piss off all the usual suspects in the comic book industry by daring to tell the truth. He has a YouTube channel where he posts videos of customers coming in and talking about comics. It's the same format as a 2013 documentary made about his shop. It's just people coming in and being comic book geeks, so I can see why that rankled the comic book pros. But that wasn't what brought it out of him, even though that was the bulk of the 30-minute video. No, what turned their panties into pretzels was this 1-minute bit right here.
Well, then again, there's probably different change of writers where people don't. The writers nowadays, they don't care about the characters of what the character is anymore. Most of these new writers don't have the love of comics like these older writers had, and all they care about is, how can I put myself in the book? No, we don't care what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. If that's the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one will read it because nobody cares. People grew up, are growing up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving all these Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in it. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write Steve Rogers. What would Steve Rogers be if I was Steve Rogers? That's not how it works. But that's again how most of these new people write nowadays. That's why most of the stuff is shit. Because we don't care what you would do, because we don't care about your life whatsoever. Just write a book, get paid for what you do, get paid for what you're supposed to be doing, and make it a good story.
Where's the lie? Nothing he said was controversial. It's 100% true. If you're hired to write brand characters for Marvel or DC, no one, not a single soul, is interested in you writing a character as yourself. People are interested in that established character. Nobody cares about what it would be like if you were the character. Now, Glenn says that you can write that and put that out, but I'm going to tell you, don't. The only thing worse than a self-insert is a Mary Sue. It can work, but most of the time it's bad, it's lazy, it's uncreative, and when it's done with established characters with well-developed personalities, it's annoying. This is what broke the Iceman book. The idea of changing his sexuality was bad enough, but writer Sina Grace writing Iceman as a kitschy, obnoxious version of himself made the book insufferable. This is the reason why damn near everything written by Kwanzaa Sajefo, Vita Ayala, and Magdalene Visaggio is a hot mess. When the writers aren't making themselves into characters, they're writing their personal problems into well-established characters' lives in ways that completely undermine everything we know about those characters. I'm looking at you, Tom King. Then you have the trend of making the books revolve around the writer's pet issues. People like Tim Sheridan, Tom Taylor, and Chelsea Kane come to mind. These books fail because they're not about the story. They're not about the characters. They're about the message, and really about the writers feeling validated and seen. This would be bad writing if it were a memoir, and that's actually supposed to be about you. It's much worse when it's Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, Captain America, Thor, Wonder Woman, and so on. So that's all Glenn said. Did he say it in a regular dude kind of way that would probably piss people off? Yeah. And? Toughen up, Buttercup. He shouldn't have to sugarcoat the truth just for you to hear it. But see, that's a normal person's reaction. We're not dealing with normal people. We're dealing with people who think they have power and control. So when this clip made the rounds, they got mad. You got Jamal Igle and Donnie Cates and Ramon Villalobos and many more people from under the stairs swinging their gnarled fingers at this man for daring to tell the truth. Their books don't sell. They can be as butthurt about that as they want. That doesn't change that the books stay on the shelves. But again, that's how normal people would see things. And these aren't normal people. So instead of just disagreeing with him, they attacked Glenn. They attacked him over his appearance, the way he talks, his weight, his race. Jamal Igle implied that the dude might be racist, but none of them addressed anything he actually said. Now, in the past, this would have been the end of the story. Someone would have said something the comic pros didn't like, they'd pounce, and the person would be bullied into silence. However, normies have unlocked their Sharingans, and they can see through those techniques. So this did not go as planned. Instead of everyone piling on Glenn, he found quite a bit of support, particularly from the well-known and actually successful writer Mark Millar. Whether or not you like his work, his books sell, and they've been popular. The adaptations of his books have been popular and very successful. So, with that in mind, what do you think was the reaction from the usual suspects when Mark Miller sided with Glenn? Well, they got pissy about that too, especially with Mark Miller having the temerity, the unmitigated gall to talk to Glenn on a live stream. No, no, no. Let it settle in. Let it breathe. I know it's retarded, but that's how these people roll. If you talk to someone they don't like or dare to agree with that person, they want to cancel you. Never mind that Mark is basically set for life, so even if they did screw with him, he's got crazy money. Never mind that he could put out half-assed ideas and they be better than these people's best stories. I know it, Mark Miller knows it, the people attacking him know it, but that did not stop them. They still got pissy with him. This is the state of the comic book industry. They attack the guy who outsells most of them and has all the Hollywood connections and money they wish they had. They attack a guy who runs a store that sells their books, where he spends a good chunk of his day suggesting books to customers. Why would you attack this man? Because he said nobody's buying your books? Did you ever think that might be true? And it's not just that they attack Glenn. A number of these folks went after comic book stores in general. Keep in mind, these people were damn near jobless when the pandemic forced comic book stores to close. Not within a couple of months of the closings, not even a bunch of weeks. Within days of the shops closing, these people were basically out of a job, reduced to e-begging to make ends meet, and now they're acting like they don't even need comic book stores. If you've ever been confused about why the American comic book industry is such a mess, this is all you need to see. They're going after the place that sells their books. You don't have to like Glenn O'Leary or what he said or anyone who supports him, but you do have to have enough sense to realize that your industry is built around comic book stores, so it's not a good idea to act like you don't need them. That was proven wrong in 2020, when the comic book stores closed within a fortnight. 2 weeks, the entire comic book industry damn near collapsed. The whole thing, from the stores to the distributor to the publishers, almost obliterated just 2 weeks. All it took was the stores being closed to just foobar the whole industry. It seems like some of the comic book pros forgot this and went back to their usual bully tactics, but I don't think anybody's putting up with it anymore. We all know the truth. These books don't sell. Most of them aren't even bad. They're forgettable, which is even worse. You should be doing everything you can to get people to be interested in the stories you want to tell, not spending hours shitting on some dude for stating the obvious. If any of these people had any sense, they'd be trying to make Glenn eat his own words by making a book he'd love. That's the best comeuppance. Make something people love but try to pretend they don't like. Of course, that would make sense, and this isn't that kind of industry. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.